Nobody likes sitting in a rehearsal where someone is unprepared. But coming prepared looks different for each musician. Some are very seasoned and don't need as much time to practice as others do. Does that mean they get out of practicing? How can we make sure everyone is prepared to the best of their ability? That's what we're going to talk about today. Today we are going to talk about step number 2 that I talked about in a previous video. 3 keys to having an effective praise team. I'll be sure to give you a link to that one. Step number 2 is skill development. The people that you're working with need to have some skill. Hopefully you were able to assess that before they join the team. But even more important than that, they must also be willing to grow. Are they willing to have personal practice no matter how seasoned they are? This is an important question to ask when talking with them individually. Individual communication is step number 1. And if you need a link to that one, I'll give you a link to that one too. Don't just assume that they are practicing. In my own experience, it's actually the more seasoned musicians that feel like they can get away with not practicing at all. It's not true. We still know when you don't practice. Now, it's totally possible that they need a challenge. Musicians are very creative people. Try your best to be sure that they can feel valued on the team. It can be very frustrating to feel like you're being used and especially underappreciated for your abilities. A good way to give your team members a challenge is to always have a song that stretches the ability of your team in some way, shape, or fashion. Check with your team members individually to see if they feel like they have a way to grow or if they feel stuck. Find out if they need any resources. I was actually talking with my keyboard player recently, and it turns out that one of the things that he needed was really easy for me to provide. I just didn't know that he needed it. I do now, and I'm mindful of it when I'm inputting songs. Now, let me make something very clear here. Practice is done at home. Rehearsal is when you are all together. The difference between those needs to be communicated to your whole team, if you haven't already. If you have, good on you. But do you need to reiterate it? Be sure everyone on your team is committed to both practice at home and team rehearsal. Now, when it comes to team rehearsal, be sure you're starting off on the right foot by starting on time. Now, that one can be a hard one. Don't let the person that's late dictate the time that you start. Start when you say you're going to. Next is something to continually watch out for. Be sure everyone is a team player and that they're not afraid of issues in rehearsal. You're a team, and it's important to learn how to work through issues together. You do not lead a team of perfect people. People have issues. Jesus chose people with issues. He walked alongside of, led people with issues. Strive to be a team that works through things together. Now, if the same issue is cropping up continually and it's impeding the function of your rehearsal, then you need to trace the cause of that issue. Now, if the root cause of that issue is a person, and that person is willing to grow, you can set them down on the front row and let them work through those things there. But this is if they're willing to grow. Give this to them as an option, along with clear stipulations to returning to the team. If they're not willing to grow, you may have some tough decisions ahead of you. Playing in a band with a bunch of imperfect people can need just as much skill development as their abilities on an instrument or with their vocals. But at the end of the day, we look for, foster, and reward their willingness to grow and develop their skill every chance we get. Okay, so testing, 1, 2. Okay. Yes. All right. I can do this.